Hello, everybody. It is Keegan Jensen with From the Hawkeye the Storm, here to discuss Iowa's duel with Oklahoma State and a crushing and brutal defeat at that. I'll just go through, kind of react to some of your guys' initial thoughts here first. Angelo would have beat that guy at 184, and Mo would have won against Cody like he did earlier. Brands just isn't it anymore. Yeah, wanted to touch on this right away. I think there's going to be a lot of people acting like tonight was some crazy surprise and some, just big rippling. It's not that. I mean, you can't look at the fact that we beat them 18-16 at national duels. I mean, these are two completely different teams now. Obviously, Mo being gone, Jax Forrest being in their lineup. Cale Peterson wrestled this time instead of Nasir Bailey like last time. I mean, just tons of things are different. Progression has happened. I don't think it's necessarily fair to compare last time. But yeah, I think our team at the start of the year was a lot better, and it definitely showed tonight. Drake got his ass kicked by a true freshman. Not sure how a back-to-back finalist gets teched by a true freshman. I think to call Jack Forrest just a true freshman is certainly a choice of words. I mean, he's a lot more than a true freshman. We're going to talk about him at length tonight, but yeah, he's a generational talent, not just a true freshman. That guy, I mean, he is insane, and he's got national titles in his future, if not one this year, at one of the toughest weight classes. Brands just had lost his way. Even Gabe Arnold just gave up and lost his match. We'll talk plenty about Gabe Arnold, but I certainly don't think he gave up. I would agree more with this, that we've been victim to some seriously brutal stall calls. I mean, they talked about it, on the broadcast, just about the backing out rule and how, a lot of times it's not even necessarily you're slowing down the match and stalling. It's just an unfortunate position, or you wind up in a position like Gabe Arnold. What is he supposed to do there? Feed the guy his leg and walk back in bounds and get taken down? No, he kicked away, and then he didn't have time to react before the guy could shoot him off. I mean, if you watch the whole match, Arnold was clearly the aggressor the whole time, multiple times, could have taken him down, debatably had a takedown in the second period. I thought he did. I mean, he's been on the rough end of some calls this year. And I think of all guys on this team, he's not someone that gives up. Many of our guys that should All-American won't because of their seeds at Big Tens and in the national tournament. I'm guessing we only have 2 All-Americans, 165 and 174. The rest of the guys will be seed victims. Guys at heavyweight, 125, 133 will have blood round seed. I'd definitely throw Angelo in there to be an All-American. I mean, all reports that I see say he's coming back for Big Tens. He should certainly be a top 3 seed. So I think 3 for sure. But outside of that, I mean, I wouldn't necessarily say he's going to be a blood round seed. He'll probably be an 8 or 9 seed right there. To be an All-American, I think he should. But outside of that, I definitely agree. Like Dean Peterson, he's probably going to be, he could be a lower seed where he's looking at an American spot. Same with like Jordan Williams. Same with even like Nasir Bailey with Keeter. It's going to be tough for those guys. Like they're going to have to pull off a match. And that's why I'm really hoping we can peak at the national tournament. Whatever they're doing isn't working. Yeah. I mean, that's been the discussion this entire year. Things are not trending in the right direction. And lately, I've been hearing more rumors and swirlings than ever, just talking about the brands and, the tight leash that they have right now. There's a lot of talk going on behind the scenes. Gabe got screwed. Yeah. Talked about that a little bit. We'll talk about it a lot more later, but yeah, definitely some questionable calls in that match. Watching state tourney last night, and some of Iowa's best are leaving the state. Not good. Yeah. I wanted to actually talk about that myself. Yeah, I was in attendance for the finals last night. Obviously, I'm a coach, so I was at every session of the state tournament. Had guys going and competing. I was out there on the mat. It sucks to see a lot of the greatest talent that we have in Iowa, like Dreshawn Ross, for example, like Lincoln Jip, really good guys like that are leaving the state. It sucks to not retain that talent. And it's a direct, I feel like it's a direct showing of the program at that point. It's like, if you can't even keep guys within your own state, it's a really bad look. Why would they want to stay in state for this train wreck? Yeah, I mean, things right now definitely don't look good. I think Iowa's not the most enticing program to commit to at the time. In the PSU post-match, Tom said he had the right guys in the room. Either that was a lie or Tom is the wrong guy to lead them. I think it's tough to analyze that comment because what else is he supposed to say? He's not going to be like, well, I hate the wrestlers I got. We have no potential. And I think we do have talent on this team. I mean, that's what I've said all year, and I'll stick with that. There is talent on this team. Is there as much talent as we've had in the past? Probably not. But is there talent that could be successful? Is there talent that could have 5 plus All-Americans? Yeah, there is. And, right now we're not using that talent in the best way that we can. Wish Iowa could have gotten that 4-timer from Dodge. Yeah, don't we all? Jackson's a potential 4-timer. Yeah, certainly. He's not just a true freshman. That is for sure. He is going to be one of the better wrestlers that ever comes through. 100% fair. They have improved and Iowa has got worse. Yeah, definitely 100%. If people think tonight was a surprise, wait until we finish 5th at the Big Tens. This team just isn't very good. It's tough. I mean, I would like to think we'll finish above 5th, but definitely going to be tough. And I wouldn't say we're not good. It's still a top 10 team in the nation. But yeah, it's been tough. And tonight certainly was not a surprise. I mean, if anyone's surprised, it's definitely just not the right reaction to have. Gabe got hosed with no takedown and the stall call. Yeah, like I said, we'll talk about it a bit later. We'll be lucky to have Drake place this year. Insanity when he was a back-to-back finalist. I mean, I wouldn't say it was insanity, but yeah, I mean, the weight class has clearly gotten a lot tougher. I wouldn't say we'll be lucky to have him place. I think he should, as long as he can wrestle to his potential. He's gone through a brutal schedule this year. And I mean, you look at his match with Davino, I mean, he's right there. He can compete with these guys. Tonight was rough, but we'll see. I would sit Ferrari and get a medical for him, let Arnold go at 84. I'm not mad at this take at all, honestly. Uh, I think there's been discussions about it. It's like Angelo hasn't been out there all year. Is he going to be at his best? Can we just get him a medical red shirt? If we can, why not just do that? Sinclair's there and Max McNeely and just tough competition that it's like, do we want to risk this and risk losing his freshman year if he's not at his best at the national tournament? I believe it's a knee thing with Ferrari. I could be wrong. Someone correct me if I am, but I think it's a knee or it's an ankle. It was something that he suffered in the Penn State duel. Um, I don't think Ferrari could medical redshirt even if he wanted to. Yeah, I don't exactly know the regulations on that. I mean, there is so many different situations where they'll take it to the board, and they've accepted some things that I'm surprised they've accepted, and they have not accepted some things that I would expect them to accept. Yeah, and I do agree, though. It will be hard for him to get one this late in the season, but I definitely have seen it happen. Um, wouldn't be the Big Ten without questionable officiating. Yeah. I mean, I think all year that's been a talking point. There has been many questionable calls in the Big Ten, especially just all around stalling in the Big Ten has been, all across the nation, not even just the Big Ten. Stalling has been just such a hot topic this year. I mean, I feel like the rules in a way are leading us astray by just the fact that it's like guys can't even finish out wrestling matches in overtime at this point because it's just pushing each other out of bounds. But whatever. I mean, there's plenty of stuff to talk about. Something I did want to say, I forgot to say right at the beginning, but I am sorry I was not able to be here for the last few duels. As I said, I was coaching at the state tournament, and then we had districts the week before that. We've been staying in hotels left and right. There's so much going on. It is without a doubt the busiest time of my year. Really tough to make things work, but Corey and I have been trying to come up with a good schedule, and I'm glad I was able to come on here tonight. I just got back at midnight last night from the state tournament, had a long day today. And I was just happy to be able to come on here tonight, talk more wrestling. A lot of people ask me about how our team is doing and things like that. So just a quick update for anyone that's wondering, we had 2 place winners this year, 5 state qualifiers, went pretty well. We compete in class 2A winner set. So pretty good. My brother took 6th place. So it was a fun tournament and just a great experience. State always is. So now let's do a quick just run through of each weight. Like I usually do. At 125 pounds, Spratley beat Dean Peterson 5-2. This one was not surprising to me. I kind of predicted this to be the case. Last time Dean got really lucky. If you watch that match, he had a crazy go behind at the very end of the match in a match that he was kind of dead to rights. And Spratley's obviously returning national finalist, a very good wrestler. So I thought that was going to be a tough one to win. I did not think that Drake Iowa would get teched by Jax Forrest at 133 pounds, but I did not think we would win, to be honest, just with the way this year has gone, with the way Forrest looks. Those freshmen are different, and we obviously saw that tonight. Sergio Vega ended up pinning Cale Peterson. I honestly thought Cale Peterson wrestled a good match up until that point, was in on his legs multiple times, even almost took the lead there in that second period. But at the end of the day, we are kind of outmatched. He was better at scrambling and put himself in a good position to win that match, and we were, unlucky. And obviously, you'll find out it was a trend that a lot of falls happened tonight, tech falls and falls. Ryder Block was able to get a tech fall over Coulter Burton at 149 pounds. That was a good win. I wish Swiderski would have been able to go. It would have been nice to see that match again. Would have been good for Block, but nevertheless, big win. At 157 pounds, Landon Robidoux beat Jordan Williams 5-1. I thought Jordan Williams wrestled a little better against him this time, and I don't think that was a bad match for him. I think Jordan Williams has been, he's been improving a little bit each match by each match. He's still not where we want him to be, but I'm hoping by the national tournament he can keep improving. What's really tough about Jordan Williams, and I've been keep complaining about this, is like, they keep putting him out there against top 10 wrestlers or even top 15 wrestlers, but he never gets to wrestle guys that are unranked, never gets to wrestle in these lower level duels. They just sit him and wrestle Voinovich. I don't know if that's not, maybe he's not fully healthy and they want to rest him and things like that, but it's like he needs some wins. He needs to pick up some confidence. 165 pounds. Wanted to mention this as quickly as I could. Wrestler of the duel, Michael Caliendo. What a big win. I said this all year. I was hoping he could get redemption in that match because I remember he lost back at national duels, and I thought it was a controversial call back then and that maybe he should have won that match. So it was super awesome to see him push the pace tonight, go win, even, shush the Oklahoma State crowd. If we could just have, 10 Michael Caliendos, wouldn't it be amazing? We've said that all year, but he's an awesome wrestler, and that is huge for his seed at the national tournament. That probably saved him from being on the same side of the bracket as Mess and Brink, so that's a big deal. And then we'll go into our big play of the day with Patrick Kennedy's third period scramble at 108 or 174 pounds. He picked up the win over number 7 Alex Facundo 8-3. That was a big win, and he was kind of dead to rights and just scrambled out of there. It was a big win for Kennedy. I know that had been a close match in the past, so was awesome. He was able to pick that up, and he seemed like he was looking really good. I know he had a nice low-level ankle pick earlier in the match as well. It was really fun watching him. 184 pounds. We obviously talked a little bit about Gabe Arnold's match, but I thought he was the aggressor. I thought he probably should have won that match. They'd have called 3 in the second period. I thought it was really close. Sucks seeing him lose to these top 10 guys over and over on just such close matches, such close calls, and just, tiny things being different, and he could have won. 197 pounds and 285 pounds. We were pinned back to back, and there's not much to talk about there. We were outmatched, outclassed, and honestly did not really have a shot of winning. I thought Brody Sampson had a decent effort just going out there trying to catch him, make something happen, but obviously fell to his back and was pinned. Not sure what's going on with Keeter. Injuries have been a concern this entire year for him, and clearly he's banged up right now, and they are wanting to rest him as much as possible. So, now I'll take Alex in here. Let's see if I can get this. Sorry for the long wait. Just wanted to introduce some things. So, good to see you. How you doing?
Well, I kind of figured this meet was not going to go Iowa's way. Yeah. I would like to see some of these matches a lot closer. Drake Ayala was kind of the surprise one. And one of the comments I put for specifically just that 133 weight class is, he's a two-time finalist, two-time runner-up. Is it a testament of how good that 133 is this year, or how poor 133 has been the previous years? Because, I mean, the Drake Ayala is very reminiscent of Matt McDonough's final year at Iowa. He was ranked. Now McDonough went into the tournament ranked 3rd and didn't place. He lost in the champion bracket, and then lost immediately in the blood round in the consolation bracket, and so he never placed. And that seems like how IL is going. And that's after McDonough won the national title the year before. So, I don't know. It's very upsetting, kind of disappointing to see him do that. What's a takedown? What's stalling anymore? We've had, you can on 3 separate occasions with 3 different teams. Well, 2 of them now involve Arnold. That takedown versus Ohio State, where they didn't call it on the mat, and then they gave Arnold the takedown, but they said, well, he got him down, reaction time, yada yada yada. And then against Michigan, Patrick Kennedy, they thought they had the takedown. And then now tonight, where Gabe, you could even say 4 times where he got taken. He took the guy down, and I thought Brands rightly threw the challenge brick. Now, to be 100% transparent, I didn't watch it. I listened to Mark Ironside and Steve Yace on the Hawkeye Radio Network. They were having some issues with the YouTube one, which is what I normally listen to. Said because I missed 100% of the Dean Peterson match, so obviously I got the result. Was able to catch the Ayala one, but and then that stall call, and one reason why I like to listen, because Mark Irons is very even though it's radio, he's very animated. Yeah. He's obviously he's wrestled for Iowa. He's very, obviously a homer and everything like that. So and he was pretty beside himself after that Gabe Arnold match. And I
tough to watch.
And it was tough to listen to. Yeah. So I don't know. I did some research during the actual duel, during some of the intermissions. This is Iowa's worst season since Jim Zelensky's last season in 2005, excuse me, to 2006, where he finished 11-7. And then for them to lose more than 6, you have to go all the way back to the 60s, where you had David McCuskey, who went sub 500 twice. So yeah.
It's insane. It's especially it's just like you mix that in with the fact what we have been in the past decade, and then it's just even tougher. It's like, man, it just consistently we were top 3, and now all of a sudden it's like we're dealing with not even being able to compete with top 3, and that's so just like it's such a tough pill to swallow.
And you've talked about Jordan Williams and Nasir Bailey, and obviously these transfers in, and it just seems like. And I went back and didn't do a huge deep dive of which Iowa guys did better or did worse than what they were. And this is all national tournament because it's the only thing that, you can actually quickly look at. And and I came up from the last time they won in 2021 is kind of when I went to, and it's more times than not, you see Iowa guys like completely do not live up to expectations. Now I'm not
Yeah.
talking, oh, he was ranked the third seed and he got fourth. I'm talking this guy was ranked the third seed and he placed eighth, or he didn't place at all. Some of them are from injuries, and everything like that. But it just seems like Iowa has been, we get these, wrestlers that have obviously the expectations are really high, so there's probably a lot of pressure for these wrestlers, but it just seems like you have these guys that are like really highly touted, highly ranked, and they just kind of fall off. I've already mentioned Matt McDonough. Drake Ayala is probably the perfect example this season. You had Jordan Teamer, what was it, last year, that just,
Yeah.
you know, finished second the year before and completely fell off a cliff, lost twice in a row, in the tournament, and was completely done. So, and then I said this the last comment I just saw, 6 duels. It was Jim Zaleski lost 7 in his final season. So that was technically Iowa's worst season since then in 2005 and 2006. So
Yeah. It's just crazy. Like, I mean, that's talking about how a lot of times they do worse than what they're ranked or what they're seeded. It's such a big thing that we preach just even at the high school level is like wrestling above your seed is so important. Like we always say, there's a stat that pops up on track wrestling after every tournament. It's either plus or it's negative, depending on how our whole team wrestled to their seed. If we have a 1 seed that got third, then that's -2. And then it all adds up through every weight. And it's like, if we end the tournament, we're -10. It's like, okay, we didn't compete the way we were supposed to compete today. Always the goal is to be in the plus category. And it's like, feels like, I haven't gone back and looked, but it feels like we've been in the negative probably so many times just based on where we've been and how we've ended up. And certainly last year it felt that way. And that's one of the most like frustrating things, especially like this year. If you look at like what these guys on our team were ranked to start the year and you compare that to how they're going to end up at the end of the year, it's going to look really rough.
the only
And that,
the only person that you can say that's kind of right where we expect him is Angelo. I mean, I
yeah.
think he came in the ranked third or second, started the season. He got to the first rank, and then obviously he lost against Penn State. But you could tell, like when he was during the like stalemates or the stoppages, he was, walking around trying to stretch out. I think it was his left leg, trying to stretch
Mhm.
something out, trying to, feel it out. So and now
Yeah,
he
exactly.
hasn't moved on from second, but it's,
Mhm.
and something with the radio call, and you weren't on for the Michigan one, and I did listen to that, and something Mark Ironside was kind of screaming about was, we don't put an effort into keeping guys down. It just seems like
Mhm.
we ride them for 5 seconds to let them go, and it's obviously he's very frustrated by that because it's like we need to pressure this guy a little bit, burn a little energy, you know, kind of put, maybe not, get any sort of movement or back points out of it, but, pressure him, keep him down, build up some writing time. But and it's something he's been screaming about all year, and both in the Michigan duel and then obviously in this one duel as well. So, um, and then letting the officials, and something I wrote down actually for that Michigan duel is why we letting the officials decide matches. You talk about Kennedy,
Right.
Kennedy and Arnold are very much the same wrestler where they wait kind of the last. I mean, it's kind of been Iowa's MO for the past few years where they wait to the last few seconds to even get to their offense. But at the time, it's more desperation than, I'm going to set up this move and go for it rather than, oh, I have 15 seconds left. I need to take down to
Mhm.
win or tie at this
It's
point.
crazy.
So
Like speaking about, like, I would love to know, like, if anyone in the chat has any idea or could pull it up, like how many times has Gabe Arnold been in overtime this season? It's got to be at least like 40% of his matches or something. Like
oh,
it
it's
is
got to be
nuts.
higher.
Yeah, probably
I mean,
higher. Like at the very least, like 40 to 50%. Like, I mean, he has gone to overtime so many times. His last like 10 matches, it's probably like 7 out of his last 10 matches or something have ended in overtime. Like it's
and
nuts.
I don't
Crazy.
know if it's because of, and they brought this up. Um, Either Steve Gase or Mark Ironside brought this up about, he's not. he's wrestling a little bit above his weight at 170 or 184. Um, where is and he's getting put against top ranked guys. Is he afraid to put the match in danger by trying to take a shot and not succeeding to where it's like, okay, I can kind of mess with this guy a little bit, go toe to toe with him, and then taking that overtime, and then okay, it's on the line now. I need to kind of let everything out at this point. So I'm kind of
Yeah.
curious by that.
I feel like with him, it's such like a wrestling style thing where he's got such a squared stance that it's not like he doesn't have any offense, but it makes it so difficult for him to be scored on. But at the same time, it kind of feels like it's difficult for him to score, especially when he's wrestling at 84 and he's more of a 74 pounder. So he's already a little lighter and weaker than these guys. So it's already gonna be tough to score in general. But his stance is so squared, and sometimes that's a good thing. Like if he has a 1 point lead in the third period, I have no worries that he's probably going to hold on to it. He's so tough to take down, but it hinders his offense in a way, I feel like.
Oh yeah,
In the
and
same
that
way
when
that
I
like
was
Angelo, we talked about when he drops to a knee. You know what I mean? I feel like it hindered his offense in a way. It makes him extremely tough to score on, and he wins so many matches, 3-1, 2-1, 4-1, but it hinders his offense in a way.
yeah, it's like when I was a wrestler, it was you had your two stances, your staggered stance, which is more your offensive, you know, and then your squared stance, which is more defensive, where you can sprawl a lot easier. But you obviously your offense takes a back seat to that. So, um, I haven't been able to watch much of Iowa wrestling since the start of the year.
Hmm.
But yeah, so I haven't been able to see how he stands specifically. Um, and maybe this is a good question to bring up now since the, you know, regular quote unquote regular season's over. We're going into Big Tens and then the national tournament. Um, if Brands does end up getting let go, depending on, and I believe if Tom gets let go, I believe Terry will follow, or Terry might just be part of the package deal.
Right.
Um, who do you think leaves? Like, who do you think I was able to keep around, and who leaves?
Yeah, so
Who do you,
it's so interesting because I think there's such a mixed crowd where I think there's guys right now that might leave if the brands stay, where there's also guys that are probably going to leave if the brands leave. And I think you're going to see leaving more in the recruits that are coming here for brands, whereas some of these guys in the lineup, I mean, like I have heard, and it's not the most reliable source, but I heard that Ferrari actually is not a big fan of the brands. And and I've heard it through the grapevine. So I can't say that this is 100% true, but I've heard that he's not a big fan and that there is potential that he would transfer after the season if they do stay. And if that is actually true, I'm sure that would be a big, swing on whether they do stay or not. If you're looking at that, um, through that lens. But then there's also probably guys that came here to wrestle for brands. Like I look at like Ryder Block who committed here. Was an Iowa wrestler in high school, committed here to wrestle for the brands, has publicly spoke up for the brands in multiple interviews. Like I look at him and I'm like, maybe he's a guy that's like he doesn't want to wrestle for somebody else and he came here for Iowa style. I don't know if I see him transferring, but there's been a fair share of guys that have spoke up for him. But then I'm also sure there's a fair share of guys that underneath the surface are maybe starting to, get frustrated with them. So I think it's so like
yeah,
it's such a difficult question to answer. Like I don't think we know for sure who's going to go, who's going to stay, what would happen either way. But I think either side, if they stay or if they go, I think there's people leaving either way. Do I know which side
yeah.
is more? Not positive, but I think there's people leaving no matter what. It's just a tough position to be in, honestly.
And I think the more frustrating thing too with this is that you see Penn State and you see Oklahoma State. You see these true freshmen or redshirt freshmen. I mean, we have Angelo, but look at Penn State. They have a bunch of redshirt true freshmen. PJ Duke, I believe,
Mhm.
is a true freshman, a
Yeah.
redshirt freshman. Just an absolute, studs. And it's frustrating. It's like, Iowa used to be able to get those recruits. Now and I don't know if Penn State has gotten any or transfers in. I know that one guy um, the guy that beat Arnold, he was at
Yeah.
Penn State
Yeah.
and he left. But I don't know in their starting lineup, is there any transfers that they've gotten in? It's from my knowledge, I don't believe so. Maybe
Rocco
one, two.
Welsh came from Ohio State, I believe. So he'd be the only one, I think. I don't think anybody else came from anywhere.
Yeah.
So it would be,
So
yeah.
yeah,
Oh,
but
I did want to mention this actually really quick. This comment brings to my attention because I didn't talk about it earlier. Because I talked about a lot about stalling, but the reaction time rule. Reaction time, I feel like, is more unclear right now than stalling is. Because there's so many people that like want there to be, 2 seconds or a beat of reaction time. There's so many people that don't want there to be reaction time at all. And what I've noticed, at least in the Big Ten this year, is they are factoring in reaction time into their calls. Like I've seen so many times where if there is no reaction time, somebody 100% had three. I mean, Arnold has had two moments, one tonight and then one in that duel. What duel was that when he had
Ohio
the
State.
Ohio State, where in overtime he would if there's no reaction time there, I mean he was behind the arms and I thought he had three. So I feel like they're factoring in reaction time, but it's like in the past I feel like I haven't seen them really factor in reaction time in many situations. So it's like they definitely need to revisit it and like really strictly define it, in my opinion. Like it is in a
Yeah.
bad place right now.
Do you listen to any, like, there's two podcasts, wrestling, Flow Wrestling obviously has one, and there's one called The Quad Box. They're both wrestling podcasts, and they've brought up they brought up the Arnold and Ohio State fishback match, but they brought up
Mhm.
other ones about reaction to him, and they're all on the same kind of. I mean, they don't collaborate in any sort of way between the two podcasts, but they call on all on the same ways. Like, what is this reaction time? Like, there's
Yeah.
nothing. It's such a gray area, and they even brought up the pushing out and the stalling of that too, to where it's kind of up to the official's discretion at that point, to where it's such a gray area to where you don't know, what is what at this point. So
Yeah, it's actually crazy. Like even speaking of that, we just had a wrestler at high school state, and I know they call it differently in high school, but it's like we had a guy who he was in the blood round to potentially place our 113 pounder, and he was down by one. Last second, kind of got into the leg, was really close to finishing. The kid like rolled across his back. The refs didn't award the points. We talked to them, afterwards, and they were like, "Well, reaction time. Reaction time is why we didn't call it." And it's like, okay, so it's like feels like every ref factors in reaction time in their own way, but every single ref has a different definition of what reaction time is. So it's like it needs to be just like strictly defined. Like this is what reaction time is. When we go back and look at it on video, this is exactly what we're looking for so that everybody knows. So that it's not like, okay, well, this ref thinks that, reaction time should be just like a split second. This ref thinks that, you got to destabilize the guy. Like I feel like all of them just call it completely different.
what do you think and this is something I saw on X, is independent reviews. So it obviously comes from the Gabe Arnold takedown,
Mhm.
where they upheld the call of no takedown. Do you think, if you do agree with it, who should be the ones reviewing it? Is it like something where they do with baseball, where they, a manager can challenge a call, and it goes to a studio or somewhere in New York where
Mhm. Mhm.
I don't know specifically. I don't follow baseball too much. I just know that's where it goes for an official review, and then they come out and say, whether the call is changed or not. Um, so do you agree that we should do that? And if so, who should be the ones reviewing? It should be a ref that's at the scorer's table, who actually independently reviews, who has no part of the match, can't make any calls in the match or anything like that? Or is there another
Yeah,
option
honestly,
where
that's something that's interesting because I think there's been I don't know if it was last year in the national tournament or the year before where they like I don't think that they do this anymore, but before they had so one team would throw a brick, and then the refs would review it themselves. They'd have an official review, and they would look at the footage. And then if they came out, maybe they changed the call, maybe they kept it, whatever. Or so if they changed the call, the other team would throw the brick. Then it would go to an independent studio, or like it would go up top to the booth, and they'd review it up there, and then they would make the final call. And it was like the craziest thing, and I haven't seen it happen since. But I remember it happened a couple times, and I was like, "This is insane! Like this is like two separate reviews. What is going on?" I think like it's a great idea, I think, to have a third ref, at least at the national tournament, to have a third ref sitting mat side, or like Big Tens too. Third ref sitting mat side that just is there for the reviews. I mean, we can hire enough refs that there's one at each mat. They rotate. Maybe, some guys will come out into the mat and ref an actual match, then go back to the reviewing table, whatever. But one that literally is just like, not a part of the match, unbiased source that wasn't out there and witnessed it with his own eyes, that just independently looks at the video and can make the call. And maybe even, hire guys that are just specifically refs for video reviews, not refs for matches, like guys that just study the rule book and they call it just off that. I think it would help a lot because right now it's like it's so tough because it's like refs when they go and look at the footage, I feel like most of the time they're not going to switch the call unless there is like clear evidence, overturning it. Like if they're like, okay, we didn't call this a takedown on the mat, I need to see something that's going to be like obvious that I should have called it a takedown. Where like if you have an
Yeah.
independent ref looking at it, he's just going to look at it, not even knowing really what the call was on the mat and just call it how it should be called. I think it would be, I don't know. I don't know. It would have to be something that they kind of had to do like trial tests with, but I think it could lead to a lot better outcomes than how it is, done right now.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's pretty much all I have.
Okay.
Don't care much for these late Sunday. Well, it's not late, but it's getting late for me.
Mhm.
I do wake up pretty early for um, from one of my jobs. So I'm gonna jump off.
Okay.
Will you be on after Big Ten, after the final Big Ten? Or
Yeah, I was gonna talk to Corey about it. We haven't talked about it yet, but I would like to be on
okay,
after Big Tens, after nationals. Even like if it's just at the end of the tournament, get on to a whole recap, maybe each day, something like that. I would definitely like to do it. I hope so.
okay. Well, hopefully see you then.
Yeah,
It'll
absolutely.
be hopefully Iowa Angelo can come back. Hopefully he'll be healthy for the Big Tens. So
Yeah.
maybe question: Can if he doesn't wrestle in the Big Tens, can he wrestle at nationals?
I don't believe so. I actually don't exactly know the ruling on that when it's injury. Actually, no, he can't. I think he has to be in like there's been guys that they've gone to the Big Ten tournament and they've made weight and everything, and then they didn't even wrestle a match. They just medical forfeited out and then got their at large bid. But I think you have to be in the tournament. Like you have to at least be like registered in the tournament and be a part of it or whatever and take a medical register. Like you can't just not even be in the bracket and then qualify for the national tournament. Because yeah, there's guys I know like so many times where guys will be like hurt and they just will wrestle maybe one match at Big Tens and get to the semifinals and then medical forfeit out and qualify and it doesn't hurt their seed. So I mean, if it's actually something that's bad enough, like I think in Ferrari's case, I wouldn't see us doing it with them or with him. But if it's bad enough, you can just literally send a guy out there, have a medical forfeit both matches, and like someone like Ferrari who's ranked top 3 is going to get an at-large bid 100%. So I think, I mean, it's possible, but I don't think we'll see it with him. More than likely.
Okay, maybe Keeter too. I don't know. Keeter's been pretty
Yeah.
disappointing this year too. So, all right. Well, Keegan, have a great night.
Yeah, absolutely. You too. Um, yeah, I actually answered this earlier. I was saying I get a bunch of questions about it. We actually had 5 qualifiers, 2 place winners. My brother took 6th place. And then we had one guy that lost just short of placing. He had a last second scramble that didn't go his way. But it was a really good tournament, really fun. I was at every session. Part of the reason why I haven't been able to be live, I've just been really busy with high school wrestling. It's definitely my busiest time of the year. I mean, I got back at midnight last night, as I mentioned to these guys earlier. There's some comments that I saw also that I wanted to answer earlier while we were talking. Um, yeah, this was the first one I saw. Block seems like a coin flip for me this postseason. Heads, he's an All-American. Tails, he doesn't make the 3rd round. 100%. It's actually like I couldn't have said it better myself. Like start of the year, if you would have had me, tell you what's going to happen after the national duels, I'd have been like, he's getting top 5 without a doubt. I mean, he's right there. And then now it's like, oh, I have no idea. If you would ask me after the Minnesota match, I probably would have been like, yeah, I don't think he's going to place. And now it's like, he's looking a little better. Maybe he could go on a run. The biggest thing with him, if he was seeded 8th, I'd be like, yeah, he'll probably All-American. I think he can beat these guys. But where he's going to be seated, the run that he's going to have to make, it's going to be hard for him. Like, I don't know exactly where he'll be seated, but he's going to have to make, a real good run probably on the backside. Yeah, Kennedy is having a good year. Just wanted to mention that. I mean, I talked about it earlier. Like this mentions too, like Callahan's a stud. Gabe got robbed and Kennedy's a tough dude. That said, time for brands to go. This team is nowhere near as good as the top teams, and next year will be much worse. Not sure how next year looks. We haven't really talked about that much at all. Like it's going to be completely different, but yeah, we have a few good guys right now, but a lot are very disappointing. More disappointing season, Drake or Ben? I'm going to go on record saying Ben without a doubt. Multiple reasons. Drake Ayala probably has the toughest weight class in the nation, debatably with 157, but I think 133 is the toughest, and I think it's honestly not that close. I think it's the toughest heavyweight. If you look at the rankings, the top, 6, top 7 guys are pretty good, but outside of that, major drop off. Not that those, lower ranked guys 10 through 15 can't make a run or anything, but it's definitely not nearly as deep as 133. Keeter coming back from an All-American season and having just zero offense to show is like so disappointing. Even against unranked guys, we aren't even seeing Keeter be explosive or anything. I mean, Iola is still teching unranked guys, low ranked guys. To me, Ben, without a doubt. Crazy to think if we had a good 197, there was a chance we won the duel if Keeter wrestles and we get bonus in one of the last two. Yeah, it's that simple. I mean, having Mo is just such a swing on every single duel. I mean, it's insane. Not having him and having, Brody Sampson, who with no disrespect is going to get tech fault or pinned most of the time, if not majored at least. It's such a huge swing on every single duel. Yeah, I did. I think Alex said that he was two-time runner-up at 133, but one of those was at 125 to Figueroa. Scrolling through here, looking at some more of those. Gabe is very strong, but he's so small. He's giving up a lot of size in every match. That's why him going 197 is crazy. Yeah, I mentioned that he's just so tiny. I mean, that's why so many matches go to OT. I mean, I don't think this was much of a trend last year. Some of his matches still did go to overtime, but not nearly as bad. I still think him, like, I'm honestly still on the board. I'm on board with him going 197. I mean, he's losing a year of eligibility no matter what. Arnold's a tough guy. I don't think he's going to die out there. But I think it makes sense. I mean, if you're losing a year of eligibility, why not at least try it? At least as long as if Angelo is coming back. If Angelo doesn't come back, let him ride 140 or 184 and we'll see what he can do. Yeah, I agree with this. The RTC will take a major hit. And when the RTC takes a big hit, a lot of times your recruiting classes do too. But yeah, all the coaches will go, probably lose DeSanto, probably lose, Lee Buchanan potentially. We'll have to see. I mean, there's so much that's just up in the air right now. When we were talking about Penn State's lineup, Messenbrink started another school but never wrestled for them. I did not know that. Where did Messenbrink go originally? If you could answer that. If Brands has integrity, he'll step down. Yeah, I don't know. I wonder. I would really like to hear, behind closed doors, not a media reaction, just what they actually are talking about right now, like Tom and Terry, what they think together collectively on how the state of the team is right now and how things should go. Iowa may very well fall out of top 10 and at best we'll have 3 All-Americans, probably more like 2, and those 2 will be seniors. Are you talking next year? Because I know we had just talked about next year, but this year I'm very much confident that we will have at least 3 All-Americans. I think we're highly underrating the team if we think that we are not going to have 3 All-Americans. And I would think that we should still be a top 10 team. I mean, because if we're seriously talking about this, I mean, Dean Peterson is still ranked 6th. Yes, he just lost to number 7, Choice Bradley. He'll still be inside the top 10. He's right there to place. He lost in the blood round last year. I think he could easily place. Iola, I think, should place as long as he wrestles to his potential. Ryder Block's not even out of discussion. Same with Jordan Williams. Ryder Block and Jordan Williams are blood round guys that could get in. Caliendo should place. Kennedy should place. Ferrari, if he wrestles, should place. Gabe Arnold, if he wrestles instead of Ferrari, could place. It's not out of the question at all. And Keeter's a returning All-American that could definitely place. So, I mean, we're looking at least 3, in my opinion. At least 3, but I would like to think closer to 5. Odds Brands is gone. If he stays, how bad does it have to get? It's already gotten probably as bad as it's going to get. So we're going to find out, I think. I can't see Brands staying and it being much worse than it has been in the last few weeks. It's been rough. So it's tough because, I don't know. I talked to my brother about this. They get so much hate, Tom being told to run the program, different things like that. But in my opinion, with the success that they've had, even if, right now things are obviously not going our way, they are very rough right now, but with the success that they've had, they deserve, the fandom's respect. We can be upset, we can be disappointed, we can want them gone. There's nothing wrong with any of that. But, to assume that they should step down, that they should for sure go, and that they don't deserve, a chance to prove themselves at the Big Ten tournament, at nationals, no matter what, feels disrespectful to me. I think that they deserve a chance, to get these guys in the right mindset and to do everything they possibly can to help us have the best Big Ten tournament, the best national tournament that we possibly can. And looking at that will give us a much better outlook on what should happen next season. But I think until the tournaments go through, we don't know as much right now as we're going to know, and they at least deserve the respect to give them an opportunity to show us something in these next few weeks. Because right now, yeah, there's no life. Things are hurting, but they can get better, and this is a coaching staff that has just brought tons of success to this program. They have, helped us remain elite and be such a good wrestling school, and they have, fed us fans for a very long time. So I don't think that they deserve, you know, some of the things that are being said about them. When do you think he would be let go after Big Tens or national championships? Definitely after the national championships. I don't see, I said this earlier. I think there was people that were saying, after the Minnesota duel, after some of the duels early in the year, that they were going to be gone immediately, that they should be fired tomorrow, things like that. I do not see a world where they are gone before the national championships. I don't see it. I don't even think it's slightly possible. If it happens, it would be after the national championships, and I think there would be lengthy discussions about it. It's not going to be some decision that they jump to. At a minimum, you have to get new assistants and try to light a spark. There's no life. Yeah, I agree. I mean, there's some things that have to change, no doubt. That could be practice plans. That could be the way that guys are losing weight. That could be just the way that we're running things right now with the team in general. It could be team chemistry. It could be the coaching staff being too hard on guys, things like that. There's a lot that needs to change, no matter what. Regardless, there's a lot that needs to change. I fully agree. Agreed. When they underperform at Big Tens and Nationals, then he'll be fired. Yeah, and I don't want to say when, because I really do think that these guys could perform at Big Tens and Nationals. I think we could be surprised. There's been so many years where we have had teams that are amazing during the regular season and majorly underperformed at Nationals. Last year, for example, I thought, I wouldn't say that we were amazing during the regular season, but we were good, and we should have performed a lot better at the national tournament. So maybe, I don't want to be that crazy guy that says the opposite's going to happen this year, but I do think there are some guys that could peak at the right time, and I do think there are some guys that are trending in the right direction. Keegan Messenbrink transferred from Cal Baptist. That's really cool to know. I did not know that. That's crazy that he was originally going to Cal Baptist. I'll have to look into that. Brands may step down / get fired, but my worry is that we will swing and miss on the big names. You lose your huge 27 class and are left with what? Everyone just assumes that Kyle Dake, Jordan Burroughs will just run here. Yes, I totally agree with that. And I see so many people being like, oh, Ben Askren, get Ben Askren. He would be so fun for the team. He would let us work. And I'm like, have you seen Ben Askren talk about Iowa on Twitter? He hates Iowa. He despises the culture at Iowa right now. And he talks so bad about Iowa. I've heard him talk about, the high school systems in Iowa. And he's been like he's just said, Iowa high school wrestling is not good. They have 3 or 4 classes and their population so small, it's nowhere near the rest. And it's like, he slanders Iowa so bad. It would be crazy to me if he just stepped in as the head coach. I don't know. It just seems so crazy that could be the case. Schwab is the best chance to come here. Yes, I would love to have Schwab come here. I'd love to see what he could do with more resources. He's done a great job at UNI. They're having a bit of a down year this year, but still they have guys that are in the mix. He's done a great job with the limited resources that he's had there. So it'd be fun to see what he could do in Iowa. I don't know necessarily how realistic it is, but I do think it would probably be our best shot. Him or Metcalf would be great. Totally agree. Ben Askren, move on from him as a thought. I agree. But I've just seen so many discussions about it where it's like, dude, I don't think that it's even possible. 4 freshmen just us. I think maybe meant left us. 1 true freshman just tech falled 4 freshmen beat us. 1 true freshman just tech falled a returning runner up. I think we underestimate how far behind Iowa is getting. I don't know. It's tough. I've been so back and forth all year. It's such a tough thing to debate. And I know most people are on the side of they got to go and things are in a horrible place right now. But like I said, earlier this year, we are still ranked 7th in the nation. I think if we wrestled Minnesota again, we would beat them. I think that we are a top 5 team. I think we could beat Virginia Tech, other teams that are up there. We aren't what we used to be as far as last year and the years before, but we are still a very, very good wrestling school. And I don't see us just, fading into the abyss within the next few years. So I don't want to jump on the train that we are just falling completely behind and we have no chance right now. I'd love to see Dan Gable sit down in a podcast and just talk about things for 2 hours and put it all out into the air, because I would really be curious as to what he thinks right now and who he's backing and what he's got to say. Schwab's first recruiting class would be half of Don Bosco's team. LOL. Yeah, after watching the finals last night, I would love to see what Schwab's recruiting class would look like coming to Iowa. That Don Bosco team, they got a ton of hammers on that team, and I know a lot of them go to UNI just because of the connections with Schwab and things like that. Virginia Tech will be better than Iowa next year with the classes coming in. Yeah, Virginia Tech. I talked to some of my buddies that don't watch college wrestling that are like, I want to get into it. I want to see this. And I'm like, if you want to follow a team and you want to really feel interested, start following Virginia Tech, because they are going to be special. I mean, watching them right now, they got so much fire, so much passion, so much energy. But what they got coming in, they're going to be just amazing. Use your media creds, Keegan, and do the interview. I don't know if I got the media creds to just walk up to Dan Gable and get an interview with him, but I appreciate the enthusiasm. New to wrestling this year, Keegan, can you give me a rundown of the schedule from here on out? Yeah, so we just completed duels for the year. We are about to go into the Big Ten tournament. The Big Ten tournament is a huge deal. It's like in basketball where the conference tournament's a really big deal and can make or break your season. Same thing with the Big Ten tournament. The Big Ten tournament is without a doubt the best conference tournament across the nation. They send out, I don't think they're out yet, but allocations will come out from the committee about how many guys will qualify from the Big Ten tournament at each weight class and at each weight class across every conference tournament. And it will total about around 30 guys, give or take a few. And then they will have the at-large bids come in of guys that didn't make it through the conference tournament that are good. They'll take the best guys that didn't go through. And that's how you qualify for nationals. Iowa typically has 10 guys qualify. Could be a little harder this year depending on the lineup that we send out there. But then after Big Tens, we head to the national tournament. We'll see what seeds we are. Few-day tournament's going to be a big deal. And that's, kind of where we see how we do in team score and how each of the 10 individuals do. But yeah, this is the most fun time of the year. Big Tens is an awesome tournament. Even, just watching all the athletes compete, not even just Iowa. Big Tens is just without a doubt the best conference. So it's so exciting to watch. Be aggressive. Feel like Dan would respond positively to it. Yeah. It would be nice to get an interview with him, but I'm also like so busy. It's crazy. Like it's so crazy to like this even explain my schedule to people because I'm a full-time student. Taking multiple credits, and obviously I coach, help out with the wrestling program. We even have our banquet coming up, and I'm doing so much to set that up. It's crazy. I mean, I got so much homework every night. Hopping on here, it's like that's why even the last few duels when I desperately wanted to be on here, I couldn't be because I just got so much going on. But I would love to just like do something like that. It would be such a cool experience. Any chance we could get Jody Strittmatter to come back to Iowa? I honestly do not know who that is. Please provide context. I am like I want to invite Dan to talk to your team. Do you mean like the winner, my winners at wrestling team, or that's funny. I don't know. It's interesting. It would be nice, be very motivating, obviously, but I don't think he's just walking around talking to every high school team. But yeah, no. Tell me who Jody Strittmatter is if you get the chance. But yeah, I think we're in such an interesting place. I had something I wanted to say, and it's like faded from my mind. But yeah, just watching the finals last night, I just feel like we could be like Iowa could be so special if just we could retain all the talent that we had in high school right now. Like there is so many nationally ranked guys in high school, and I think our high school in 2A and 3A and even 1A is trending in such a good direction right now that it's like be so nice to just retain a lot of that talent. I just would really love if some of these guys could start coming here and be so much more exciting. Like I remember just hearing that Ryder Block was going to Iowa, that Drake Ayala was going to Iowa, Keeter was going to Iowa, and it's like, man, this is awesome. Like I cannot wait to watch these guys compete in an Iowa singlet. And now it's like, man, not a lot of these guys are going to Iowa whatsoever. Thanks to the schedule update, yeah, Big Ten tourney, March 7th through the 8th, Nationals March 19th through the 21st. Really fun time, and they got a bit to prepare for, and that's why I'm heavy on the train of brands should get the chance to prepare these guys and do the best that they can do. T-Hank, I see you asked this a couple times. I mentioned it earlier. I mentioned it at the start, but I'll break it down one last time. I know people probably get annoyed because I mentioned it so much, but I just want to answer the question once for all. So we did have 5 qualifiers, and we had 2 place winners. My brother being one of them, he took 6th. And our 126 took 8th. We had a 113 pounder that was a match away from placing. So 2 state place winners for winter set. We had a state champ last year and 2 more place winners last year. We've done a great job. Didn't go to state duels this year. We went to state duels last year. Program's in a great place, and I'm looking forward to going back and coaching next year. Thanks for the show. Appreciate you. Yeah. I love stepping in here. I mean, it is just the most fun thing to do. Like, I just love sitting here and interacting with your guys' comments and hearing people that like know what they're talking about, talk wrestling. Cause I feel like I have there's so few people in life that are truly knowledgeable about the sport to a great extent. Like even myself, I don't consider myself to be like just this guru and this person that knows every single thing about wrestling. Like I've wrestled like my whole life. I went through high school. I was a state place winner myself. I've been following, Iowa college wrestling since like the Corey Clark, Thomas Gilman days when I was a little kid. My dad was following it when he was little, and my dad was a great wrestler, two-time state champ in Iowa. So I've been so connected to the sport, and I know so much about it, but there's so much more to learn, and it's so nice hopping in here and talking to people that truly get the sport, and that just have their own opinions and their own diverse answers to different things. It's so fun to just be in here. Is there going to be an assistant coach? Is there going to be assistant coaches changes in the offseason, you think? I don't know. I hear a lot of talk about that. Like some people have, it's honestly like there's like three opinions. There's, two major opinions where like it's Brand's got to go, Brand's got to stay. And then there's like that third opinion where it's like we need to gut everything else underneath, get the assistant coaches out, make some of these wrestlers leave, bring in new ones, focus solely on recruits, things like that. But I'm not sure what'll happen with assistant coaches, things like that. If I had to guess, it's going to have a major, what happens with the brands is going to have a major effect on that. No, you're totally good. But I could talk about the winter set all day. Obviously, we're here to discuss Iowa, but yeah, it's been fun. I was at the state tournament from Thursday to Saturday, and just helping those guys. Districts was last week. I've been just so busy, and I love this time of the year. It's the best. I think we all love to have the top Iowa guys be All-Americans here, but over the past years, many have failed at Iowa, and that's totally true. I don't blame them at all. Like when I say I wish we could retain talent, I mean I wish we were in a place that talent felt attracted to come to Iowa, but it's like so many people are like, why is Trayshawn Ross not going to Iowa? Why is Trayshawn Ross not going to Iowa? But it's like if you look at how Keeter has progressed over time and what he could have been compared to what he is now, no disrespect to Ben Keeter, he's an amazing world-level athlete. He has surpassed what so many people dream of doing. But why would Trayshawn Ross do that when he knows maybe he can go somewhere else and win multiple national titles? Yeah, I appreciate it. Jody Schirmeyer is the director/coach of Young Guns Wrestling Club out in Pennsylvania. Oh, okay. So, yeah, pretty prestigious wrestling club out there. Would be awesome to pick up someone like that. Like that's what, maybe not the biggest name, but, a lot of people mentioned that as well. They're like, it doesn't have to be Kyle Dake. It doesn't have to be Jordan Burroughs. It doesn't have to be one of those people that's going to be really hard to obtain. There's a lot of people that are so knowledgeable and so great about the sport that a lot of people wouldn't see coming. So, it's always great to just throw any name in there. It would take not just a big name, but an actual great organizer of the sport to compete with the top programs in NCAA wrestling. Yeah. I totally agree with that. A big name, so many people want a big name, like I just said, but big name is only part of it. Big name brings in recruits, they're going to do great things. Like David Taylor was a big name. He's obviously doing great things, but there is a lot of people that weren't big names and came in and did great things with the program. Will you be doing this next year, you think? I don't know. I haven't talked to Corey about it at all. Like I haven't even talked about Big Tens and national tournaments. Like I said earlier, I'm so busy. I just take this one day at a time. Really just try to enjoy it. As far as coaching goes, I am about to graduate college in May. I am fully planning on coaching next year. Without a doubt, I love it. I got the passion for it. I feel like it's in my blood. I just got a taste of it and can't ever walk away type feeling. But I am about to get a full-time job for the first time once I graduate. And not sure what I'm going to do yet. And depending on that is going to depend on a lot of things, but I definitely want to make coaching work. It is a major, major priority to me. And I'd love to be back on here streaming too. So we'll see what happens. But yeah, all of this means a lot to me in the sport in general. I just feel like the sport has given so much to me, and every little inkling that I can give back to it, I just want to do that because it has truly just done so much for my life. And so I've seen it change so many others. Like to see Michael Kemmer back in the room. Yeah, I loved Kemmer, man. Watching him compete was just awesome, and so close to winning a national title. I wish he did. He was a great wrestler, like truly. Yeah, he was an awesome competitor. It'd be awesome to get him back there in the room for sure. And I don't know necessarily his head coach, but just in there with the guys would mean a lot. Would Spencer Lee come back and coach Iowa? Yeah, we talked about this a bit. It would almost certainly have to be after the 2028 Olympics because I know he's training pretty hard for that, and he's still got a wrestling career of his own going. Because I know like David Taylor, when he went to Oklahoma State, he had to make a really tough decision to not focus on his individual wrestling career as much when he still could have done so many amazing things and to instead focus on others. And that's a tough decision that Spencer Lee would have to make, but I don't believe he's going to do that before, chasing his dream of an Olympic title. Keegan for new Iowa coach. Yeah, don't think I have the credentials to do that. That's for sure. It's funny. Yeah. I appreciate the enthusiasm and the confidence in me, but that would be certainly a lot for me to handle. I wouldn't complain about the money though. But yeah, I don't know. I just, love Iowa wrestling, and we're in a tough place right now. But like I said earlier, I want to keep mentioning, I feel like we spend so much time being negative, so much time, beating ourselves down and wondering what needs to change, what can be done to be better. But it's interesting because it's like, when I left the state tournament on Saturday morning, our last wrestler competed on Saturday morning, and I just took a second to look down at the mat and realize that I was a coach standing on the mat at the Iowa State tournament. That this sport is amazing, has an impact on so many people, and sometimes you need to slow down and be so appreciative of it. And I feel the same thing with Iowa wrestling. Right now is such a tough year. We're ranked 7th. We've been consistently top 3, if not at the very least top 5. And we've been amazing for such a long time, and just been such a consistently amazing program, and an amazing wrestling state. It's in our blood, it's in our tradition, that it hurts to see this happen. But at the same time, patience is a virtue, understanding that whatever decisions are going to be made with the highest intellect and the highest, faith in Iowa wrestling as a whole, and they're going to do the best they possibly can to bring us back to the top. I think, it'd be amazing to see us take a jump. And I know next year could be really tough. A lot of people say it's going to be worse, but I just try to be as positive as possibly can, glass half full type guy. I haven't seen yet what Brand said in the post duel, but I am going to be watching that shortly after this for sure. I hop on here as soon as I can, so a lot of times I don't get a chance to see. Waiting for Corey to pop up from the shadows. Yeah, he hops in here sometimes. I think I saw him come in here a little bit earlier, but he hopped right out after. Agree with Spencer. Maybe he has a future at Iowa. It's not anytime soon. Being the head coach is more than on the mat, and people have to be ready for that. Yeah, 100%. You can't compete and be a head coach at the same time. Just not possible. Wouldn't happen. It'd be just way too difficult. And Lee, I personally wouldn't like it, because I think he'd be a good and solid head coach, but it would suck to not see him compete anymore and to not see him live out what I know he can definitely do at the Olympic and world level. Keegan, have you ever thought about being an official for wrestling? Yeah, definitely. I've had plenty of refs actually approach me, talk to me about, what it takes to be an official, even offer me jobs, things like that. But my heart lies with coaching right now. That's what I really love to do, and I love to analyze the sport. Being an official is so tough. Even mentioning the state tournament again, there's so many controversial calls, and even in the finals, throughout the state tournament, semifinals, things like that. It's so tough being a ref. And I have nothing but the utmost respect for those guys. I know they do the best they can. And I don't know if I'm exactly built for it, because it is a really tough job to do. And I love coaching right now. I love progressing wrestlers. I love going out there with, wanting to chase something and help these guys be the best that they can be. Any idea what the range for NIL in wrestling is? I hear a bunch of different answers. I know D1 level is obviously a lot higher than any other level as far as any of that goes, but I know some of these real big names, I believe, I've heard so many different numbers, but Bo Bassett, for example, I was hearing, even touching $1 million, maybe just above $1 million. That's for high end. I would expect some of these lower, high ranked guys, but guys that aren't necessarily immediate national champion level. Maybe we're looking at 100,000, something like that. These are just guesses. I have no idea. I don't have any guy that's a D1 wrestler that has told me an exact figure. But I know there's a lot of money in the sport right now, and it's certainly growing. And I can't imagine what Dreshawn Ross is going to make to go to Oklahoma State. It's awesome because a lot of people, that's funny, you just comment that, how much did Ross get to go to Oklahoma State? No idea, but I'm sure it's a lot. It's cool, because when I was growing up, there was a lot of guys that were I could be a great wrestler, but I'm going to go play football because there's no money in wrestling. Now, I think NIL has benefited wrestling in some ways and negatively affected it in some ways. But one of the ways where it's benefited is there is money in our sport now. There is, guys can chase this as a career almost. So that's a really cool thing, in my opinion. Young Guns alumni include Spencer Lee, Jason Nolf, Vincenzo Joseph, Bo Bassett, and Jax Forrest. Yeah, no, I know a lot of those people came out of there. I mean, man, I miss the days of watching Nolf and Joseph. I mean, Isaiah Martinez and Joseph in the finals just created some of the most classic matches we've ever seen. Nolf was just that guy. Obviously Spencer Lee, Bo Bassett, Jax Forrest, goes without being said. That'd be really cool. Some of those, I saw someone earlier say, very curious to see what Dreshawn Ross is going to do at Oklahoma State, because a lot of Seabolt guys struggle. It's interesting watching club guys transfer to, regular universities and things like that, because I think it's a big change for a lot of them, and a lot of times they can really struggle. And I see you guys bringing up Big Grove Brewery. That actually is a good reminder for me to shout out our sponsor of this show. Big Grove Brewery is the official craft brewery of the Hawkeyes. check them out at www.biggrove.com. Big supporters of the show, big supporters of From the Hawkeye, the Storm. Seriously, go check them out. They got amazing stuff, and they do a lot. So yeah, seriously, go look at them. And now, while we're mentioning sponsors and things we brought up earlier, I want to mention again that the big play of the day was Patrick Kennedy's third period scramble. We talked about that a bit earlier. Awesome. I think it's one of those times. There's been so many times this year where it's like so hard to pick out exact things, but this was one of the duels where it was like there was just two obvious ones for me. Big play of the day, definitely that last second scramble. And then the rest of the duel, without a doubt, Michael Caliendo for getting that revenge. It's crazy. I talked about Caliendo for so long. This every duel, I feel like since national duels, I've been like, Caliendo's doing great. Cannot wait for him to get, revenge on Lockett. Cannot wait for him to beat Lockett. Even after he lost to Blaze, I was like, he can still go and he can do a lot here by getting revenge in this match. And it was so awesome to see it do it. I'm going to miss that guy so much. He's just such an awesome competitor. I remember Keeter dominated like Ross has. It'll be interesting to see how Ross turns out. Yeah, Keeter was dominant, not in the level that Ross is. I think Ross is just even a completely different breed because Keeter was as good as it gets. And then it feels like Ross created a new level. I mean, he is tech balling guys in the first period of the state finals. And Keeter, a lot of while he wrestled was 2-point takedowns. So it was different, but they were both extremely dominant. I know Keeter had some closer matches in his freshman and sophomore year where Ross was more just dominant all the way through, but both of them were just insane. It'll be so interesting to see how that potential shapes as he goes into college. I do hear that he is potentially going to play football next year. I don't really follow up too much on any of that, but I think he will always have the intention to wrestle. He loves wrestling, and football's so hard because it beats up your body so much, and it's such a commitment, and it's harder to pave your way in. In wrestling, he is like a world champ, and he is a All-American at the Division I level, and he is an amazing guy. To reach that kind of potential in football is such a hard thing to do, even with amazing opportunities being given to you. So I honestly feel like he'll probably stick to doing the best he possibly can in wrestling, as I'm sure, that does a lot for him. Yeah, but anyway, we're pushing the hour 10 mark here. Got to talk a lot just about this duel, about the season more than this duel, because I feel like this duel we kind of all had an idea of how this might go, but this season, Big Ten's nationals coming up, that is more what the focus is right now. And we got to be ready to go. I'm going to hope to be back in here talking to all you guys about it as soon as I possibly can. I always appreciate all the love in here, all of the support. If there's any last minute thoughts, comment them down below, because I'd love to respond to anything that anyone has to ask in case I don't see you for a long time, which I probably won't, considering Big Ten's a few weeks away. Yeah, so I do see a couple here. Like some say the NIL guy at Iowa is a big TNT guy. If that's true and he goes, the money could dry up, which would be bad if the program was gutted after he left. Head coach will want to know how much NIL they have. Yeah, totally agree. The NIL situation is obviously going to have a huge impact on everything. Google says Penn State Wrestling was allocated over $1.4 million in NIL funding for the 2024-2025 fiscal year, ranking third among school athletic programs behind football and men's basketball. Yeah, a lot of money. There was a lot of money in the sport. I don't know, like Penn State's might not be more than other wrestling schools are. Who knows? I'm sure it's right up there, but yeah. So yeah, I appreciate, all the compliments and everything that you guys had to say tonight. It was awesome sitting in here chatting wrestling, and let's root for a great Big Ten tournament. Leave with that positive thought in our brain. Let's go qualify as many as we possibly can. At least 9. If Arnold bumps up to 97 and Ferrari comes back, let's get in 10. Let's do the best we possibly can. Let's go see guys peak at the right time and jump that seed up. Yeah, I would definitely love to see it. So think there's any chance you could ever do a live during the duel. Not sure. We never talked about it, but would actually be a very cool idea. Maybe I could look into doing that. Obviously, I don't think I'd be able to play the duel on here side by side with me, but I would be able to watch it and talk to you guys about it as it goes. I think that would be a really cool experience sometime to have. So could be something to talk about someday. But yeah, good talking to you guys. Always awesome chatting wrestling, like I said. So it's been Keegan Jensen with From the Hawkeye, the Storm. Number 3 Oklahoma State defeats number 7 Iowa in a blowout fashion, 32-11 in men's wrestling. And let's go and let's be better. So like I said, it's been Keegan Jensen. Thank you guys.